It's the Billy Graham Boxing Podcast, The Preacher's Sermons.
Billy Graham doing a podcast. Who'd have thought it?
Yeah, well, you know, the Boxing Monthly's, I used to enjoy doing the column in the Boxing Monthly, and that's stopped now. I think Boxing News has bought it, have they? Something?
Yeah, I think we're all owned by the same people these days.
Yeah. So I thought maybe about time to do a podcast, because
Yeah.
I like talking about boxing.
I suppose we should start by officially welcoming people to the first ever Billy Graham Boxing Podcast. I'm John Evans, and the unmistakable dulcet Salford tones you just heard of the one and only Billy Graham. I'm not sure what we're going to expect. Dr. Doolittle telling Burt Sugar stories with Gordon Ramsay's language. I think that's pretty much going to be what it's going to turn out like, Billy. But for one thing fans can be assured of is you're going to tell the truth.
Yeah, they definitely can be assured of that. You know what I mean? It's for the fans. You know what I mean? And for boxing fans, and they can ask me any question that they want, and I will answer them absolutely truthfully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I welcome that. Anybody who wants to ask any questions to me, they can do.
Yeah, that's what we want it to become. Lots of people do boxing podcasts these days. We want it to be a bit different. We want the fans to guide us, don't we? Sending your questions. Will be a Twitter page up. There'll be an email address where you can send in anything. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to let the fans guide us.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I want to talk about what they want to talk about, or anything they ask me, because it's the fans who make us. Do you know what I mean? Without the fans, they're the most important people. So without the fans, we're nothing. No sportsman's anything without the fans. So that's what I'm the most interested in. So I welcome any questions, whatever they want to ask me, and I'll tell them.
There's nothing off limits, Billy.
Nothing's off limits at all.
You want to be careful. You don't really know the internet very well, do you?
No, I don't go on social media at all, and I never will, to be honest with you. So if anybody insults me, I won't even hear it.
Now, ordinarily, there's fights happening this side of the Atlantic, that side of the Atlantic, all over the world. There's plenty to talk about, but the weird situation we're in at the minute, it's pretty scarce news. But the one thing that has got the fans talking about is little promising signs that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury have had. You know how long the negotiations take for a big fight, Billy, it'd be years, but there's positive signs. Yeah,
there's positive signs, but I mean, it comes to a point, look, the fact of the matter is, fighters, they've got the hardest job in the world. It's a really hard, it's a brutal life. It's a really hard life. So, you know, you've got to get as much money as possible in the bank, because it's a short life as well. But the thing about the Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury fight is they've both got more money they can spend. The people who promote them guys have got more money than they can spend. So I think it's about time to don't give a shit about the governing bodies and all that. I'm not interested in the governing bodies whatsoever. It's about time that they two just got together. I know that they're supposed to have. They've got Fury's got Wilder waiting in the wings, and Joshua's got Pulev and all that. But it's just time to get it on. People want to know who the best heavyweight in the world is. People really want to know who the best heavyweight in the world is. For me, Tyson Fury, I'm a fan of both guys. I'm a big fan of Tyson's. I know the family. I've known the family for years. Obviously, it's from Manchester anyway. You know what I mean? Tyson Fury never lost his title in the ring, so Tyson Fury is still, and he is the lineal champion of the world. Do you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of Anthony Joshua's as well. He's got a huge following. He's a great fighter as well. They're rich enough. Everybody involved in that fight is rich enough to fuck the governing bodies off and just get together and fight.
Well, it's certainly once in my lifetime. I think it's once ever. Britain's got the top two heavyweights in the world.
That's never happened in my lifetime, and I'm ancient.
And the wind, you know what boxing's like. God, the best laid plans can go to shit like that, can't they? So I'm with you. I think it's got to happen now. And I personally think, I know there's lots of rumours about where the fight's going to happen. It seems like it's probably going to end up in the Middle East somewhere. I think it'd be an absolute travesty for British boxing fans if that fight between the best two big men in the world didn't take place in Britain.
Well, I agree with you entirely. I'd be disgusting if it takes place in Saudi Arabia. Now, I know money talks, But everybody involved in this promotion have all got more money than they can spend, right? So there's no excuse for putting even more money to go and fight in a country where the British fans will be reluctant to go to, and a country where, let's face it, it's a brutal country. It's got ridiculous rules. It's got all I can say is it's a brutal country. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But my way of thinking, new people are coming to the sport. If, say, the Sultan of Brunei suddenly started saying he was interested in cricket, it's like us giving him the Ashes. We're giving these people who are new to the sport the crown jewels. This is the biggest fight in British boxing history.
Absolutely.
Joshua, Tyson Fury, Wembley Stadium, 80,000 people. As you say, imagine the pay-per-view figures, imagine the receipts. There's enough money there for that fight to happen in Britain.
Everybody involved in this promotion is going to make fortunes. They're the two best heavyweights in the world, and I like both guys. Yeah. Trust me, I love both guys. I love Joshua, I love Tyson Fury. But look, the fans have made them. The fans have made them people wealthy people. I mean, more than wealthy people. Do you know what I mean?
You think it's time to give a bit back?
Yeah, it is time to give it back. It is time to get a bit back to the fans. The fans deserve it. I mean, we have got the best. Well, me and Ricky Hatton, we had the best fans in the world. Everybody says that, but we did have the best fans in the world. Now, British boxing fans are the best in the world. Forget about the Mexicans. Sorry about the Mexicans, because they're great fight fans. Do you know what I mean? But other than the Mexicans, we are the best fight fans in the world. That's why all the top names, all the top fighters now want to fight in England. So it would be a travesty, more than a travesty. It'd be disgusting if them two don't fight in Britain.
There's something else I want to ask you. Two things. Put your trainer's head on for a minute, because I know it never leaves you. Both fighters had Tyson had big changes to his training camp before the last fight, and we saw a totally different fighter.
Absolutely.
Something actually you alluded to in Boxing Monthly, didn't you? You said if Tyson sits down on his punches, is aggressive, I'm sure you said he would stop Wilder.
Yeah, I did say he'd stop Wilder.
And Joshua had more subtle. He introduced new people into his training camps. Who were you most impressed with, and who do you think benefited from the changes most?
I actually, look, Anthony Joshua did what he thought he had to do. And he actually proved me wrong, because I thought if he boxed and moved, I thought that he would get beat. I didn't want Joshua to take that approach. I wanted Joshua to do a demolition job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The same as George Foreman did to Joe Frazier. So I hope.
How much did Andy Ruiz contribute to Joshua being able to do what he did that night?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Anthony Joshua, I don't think they was the right tactics. I know he won the title back and he beat Andy Ruiz. But Andy Ruiz let everybody down. He let himself down, he let his trainers down, he let his father down, he let the fans down. Andy Ruiz, he coming even fatter than he usually does. And I think one of the reasons why Joshua won was because Andy Ruiz was so bad. Yeah. I wouldn't have fought Andy Ruiz that way if I had Anthony Joshua.
Do you think
Joshua? I'd got Joshua to take it to him and to do a George Foreman, Joe Frazier job.
And that's what he's. You'll know way
liked.
better than me, but surely going at I can't see for the life of me Anthony Joshua outboxing Tyson Fury. He's going to have to be more aggressive. Do you think the Joshua tactics and performance against Ruiz was a temporary thing to be safe, get the titles back, or do you think that might be the way Joshua fights from now on?
I'm hoping it was a temporary thing. Joshua is a big, powerful man, and I think his boxing skills are underrated. He's got great leverages, he's got a good variety of punches, as you've seen against when he fought Klitschko and that. Anthony Joshua is a much better fighter than the way he fought against Andy Ruiz. Yeah. I just hope I hope that isn't how he's going to fight anymore. Yeah. I want him to go back to the old Anthony Joshua, who puts it on people and knocks them out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's what I want to see. So the answer to your question, I was much more impressed by Tyson's Fury tactics. Now, I thought that's what Tyson Fury needed. Yeah. Look, I've watched Tyson all his career. Do you know what I mean? Nobody's had to teach Tyson Fury how to box. Tyson Fury is a natural. Do you know what I mean? He's rhythmic, he's tall, he's smooth, he's got a great jab, his fights fantastic from the distance and that, you know what I mean? Nobody has to teach him to do that.
Yeah.
But he needs to sit down on his shots more. Do you know what I mean? Because he's not getting the best out of himself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
By just boxing that way, you know. And look,
Do you
Ben
think-
Davison did a good job
Yeah.
about getting Tyson out of a dark place. And that's more important than boxing, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So hats off to him for that. But I just don't think he was anywhere near experienced enough to work with a fighter like Tyson. He can't teach Tyson anything. Tyson did what he always did when he fought Wilder the first time, and he was robbed, by the way, when he fought Wilder the first time. When I knew he was going to the Kronk, I don't know Sugar Hill. Do you know what I mean? But I know the Kronk.
Yeah.
And I know Manny. You know what I mean? I know Manny's methods. You know what I mean? And I heard Sugar Hill was like the same ilk. Do you know what I mean? But plus
Andy Lee.
Andy Lee was there, and Andy Lee's like a perfect Kronk fighter, tall, massive punching power, but he does it with leverages and timing, not brute strength.
Yeah.
Now, when I knew that Andy Lee was being involved, and he was going to the Kronk, I was over the moon because I knew they was going to teach him to sit down on punches, and plus, let me tell you something as well. They've not scratched the surface yet.
No, well, I was going to say.
If he keeps working on that stuff and getting that right hand better,
Yeah.
and there's room for improvement there. You know what I mean? And you know, put it on people and stuff like that. He'll get better. Tyson will get even better.
I was going to say, if I was asking you whether Joshua, you thought it was a temporary change in tactics to just get through that fight, but Fury going to the Kronk, that seems to me like a more permanent change. You know, that's a style they fight in, and there's not going to be different tailoring styles to suit different fighters as much at the Kronk, is there? That'll be a permanent change to Tyson's style.
I hope it's a permanent change to Tyson's style, because that's all he needs to add to his arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He can do all the other stuff. He can do that other stuff in his sleep. Do you know what I mean? He's bound to do that. He just needs to add more to his arsenal, and it's sitting down on shots and getting a bit more power.
Now just keep that trainer's mindset. I'm not going to ask you who's going to win the fight. We've got a year to talk about it. It's going to drag on forever. Given each fighter's skill set and what you've seen, whose camp would you prefer to be in? Who would you prefer to be taken into that fight, Billy? Which raw materials would you like to mould?
They've both got great raw materials.
You've got to pick one. I'm going to put you on the spot.
I'm going to pick one, and it's going to be Tyson Fury. That's not to say anything detrimental about Anthony Joshua. I really like the guy. I think he's great for boxing. I've never met him personally, do you know what I mean? But I really like the guy. And look, he's got the firepower to knock anybody out. And I think his boxing ability is a bit underrated, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
After that mishap with Andy Ruiz, which I know I'm the only one that keeps on saying it, but there was something wrong with him that night. He wasn't right that night. He shouldn't have been in the ring that night. So I'm a big fan of Anthony Joshua's as well. But I'd have to go with Tyson Fury. And if I had to bet, I'd actually bet on Tyson Fury. But Joshua's got the firepower to take him out. But no, and hey, me and Tyson Fury both come from Manchester, so that's a little bit as well.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.